We spend so much time trying to understand how men act when they're in love. What they say, what they do, how they behave. But beneath the surface of all that action is something far more powerful: how they feel. Because when a man is in love, something shifts inside of him. It's not always loud, it's not always obvious, but it is always there. A quiet transformation that changes the way he sees you and the way he sees himself. This isn't about guessing games or decoding mixed signals. This is about feeling his love, even before he says a word. So, if you've ever wondered what's really going on in a man's heart when he's fallen for you, this is it. Let's talk about how men truly feel when they are in love with you. When a man is in love, the first thing he feels, truly, deeply, goes beyond attraction or desire. It's a protective instinct. But this protection doesn't come from a place of dominance or control. It's not about staking a claim. It's about care. When he loves you, he wants to be a safe space in a world that often isn't. He wants to shield you from pain when he can and stand beside you when he can't. He doesn't try to own you. He tries to support you. That's the difference between possessiveness and protection. Love never confines, it nurtures. You can feel it in small, everyday moments. The way he makes sure you got home safely, the way he texts you to check if you've eaten or how your meeting went. He's paying attention, not out of obligation, but because your peace of mind has become a priority for him. And not just a priority, it's emotional for him. Your joy becomes his joy. Your stress becomes his concern. Not because he thinks he has to fix you, but because he can't stand the thought of you carrying your burdens alone. A man in love starts to feel deeply connected to your emotional world. And when you hurt, he feels it too. Not in a surface level way, but as if it's happening to someone he sees as an extension of himself. Love makes him feel responsible, not in a pressured way, but in a voluntary one. He wants to help. He wants to be useful. He wants to be someone you can count on. That's not something that can be forced or taught. It happens naturally when a man truly cares. This kind of love can look quiet. It's not always grand gestures or loud declarations. Sometimes it's in the way he remembers your favorite snack when you're having a rough day, or how he subtly takes on things so you don't have to, driving when you're tired, staying up with you when you're anxious, offering reassurance when you're doubting yourself. In those moments, what he's really saying is, you're safe with me. That's not just protection, that's love in action. But here's the part people often miss. This protective feeling doesn't mean he sees you as weak. Quite the opposite. He probably admires your strength more than you know. He watches the way you hold yourself together, how you handle your life, how you show up for others. And he respects that. His protective instinct doesn't come from thinking you need him. It comes from knowing that even the strongest people deserve to rest in someone else's support. And this feeling changes him. Because when a man loves you like this, he stops thinking only in terms of me and starts thinking in terms of we. It's no longer just about his path or his needs. It's about making sure you're okay, that you feel safe, that your world is a little bit easier because he's in it. He wants to add to your life, not take from it. Love becomes his motivation to show up more, to step in when needed, to stand by you not just when things are great, but when they're hard. This feeling of wanting to protect you isn't performative. He's not doing it to look good. He's doing it because it brings him peace. Knowing you're okay gives him comfort. Knowing you're not alone makes him feel whole. And that's the part that matters most. It's not about proving himself. It's about loving you in a way that creates a steady, grounded presence in your life. One you can lean on, not because you're incapable, but because love means not having to carry it all alone. So if you ever wonder how to recognize real love, pay attention to how he makes you feel. Not in the fireworks or the passion, though those can be wonderful, but in the calm, in the steady presence, in the invisible things he does to guard your peace. When a man is in love, he feels a desire to protect the connection, to protect you. And the most beautiful part is, he doesn't protect you because you're fragile. He protects you because he sees your value. And when someone truly sees your value, they treat you like something sacred, not to be owned, but to be cherished. When a man is in love, one of the most transformative feelings he experiences is the permission to let his guard down. Love softens him. It reaches into places he's kept hidden, sometimes even from himself, and invites those parts to come to the surface. For many men, vulnerability is a foreign language, something they've been taught to avoid, suppress, or disguise. But when he loves you, really loves you, something changes. He feels safe enough to take off the armor. This doesn't happen quickly. At first, it's subtle. Maybe it starts with him telling you a story from his childhood that he's never really shared, or admitting he's scared about something he's trying to achieve, or confessing that sometimes he doesn't feel like he's enough. These aren't things he says to just anyone. These are the parts of himself he usually hides, the insecurities, the doubts, the hopes he keeps tucked away because showing them feels risky. But with you, the risk starts to feel worth it. Love doesn't just make him feel something for you. It changes how he feels about himself around you. He feels accepted, not for what he does or how he performs, but for who he is. That kind of acceptance is powerful. It's healing. And when a man feels that, when he realizes he can bring the real version of himself to you and still be met with love, not judgment, something deep inside of him begins to open. You may notice he starts asking deeper questions. He wants to know what you think, how you feel, what matters to you, not just because he's curious, but because your emotional world is becoming more important to him. And in return, he starts offering more of his own. He tells you about the things that shaped him, the losses, the failures, the fears he still carries. Not because he's trying to impress you, but because he trusts you with the truth of him. That trust is everything. For a man who's spent years being told that strength means silence, sharing his vulnerability is an act of incredible courage. He's not just giving you information, he's offering you access to parts of himself that few people ever see. And what he feels in doing so is a mix of relief and intimacy. Because finally, he doesn't have to perform. He doesn't have to pretend. He can just be and know that it's enough. This vulnerability doesn't make him weaker. It makes him more connected, more human, more present. When he feels safe being open with you, the relationship deepens in ways that surface level connections never can. He stops playing roles and starts showing up as his whole self. And that's where real love lives, in the spaces where both people can be fully seen. But here's something important to understand. This kind of emotional openness can make him feel scared too. Because now he has something to lose. When a man opens up to you, he's not just sharing stories. He's giving you the keys to his emotional world. And if he's been hurt before, if he's experienced betrayal or shame, that act of sharing is even more significant. So if he sometimes pulls back, it's not because he doesn't love you, it's because love has made him vulnerable and he's learning how to navigate that unfamiliar terrain. Still, he keeps trying, he keeps showing up because the connection he feels with you is bigger than his fear. And when you respond with kindness, with presence, with your own openness, it tells him that he's not alone in this, that you're a team, that you're building something together where honesty isn't punished, it's welcomed. Love for him starts to feel like home, a place where he can finally breathe, where the pressure to be perfect fades and the freedom to be real grows stronger. And when a man feels that kind of love, he doesn't just feel affection, he feels seen, he feels known, and most of all, he feels safe. So if you ever find yourself with a man who begins to show you his true self, not just the confident parts, but the scared, tender, uncertain parts, know that it's not a sign of weakness. It's a gift. It means he loves you deeply enough to let you into the places he once kept hidden. And that kind of access is sacred because a man in love doesn't just want to be around you, he wants to be known by you. When a man is in love, something shifts in the way he moves through the relationship. Love doesn't just sit in his heart, it drives his actions. One of the most telling signs is that he feels a deep, almost instinctual urge to show up consistently, not just when it's easy, not just when it's convenient, but in the quiet, unglamorous, everyday moments that build real trust. His love pushes him to be present, not because he has to, but because he wants to. When a man truly loves you, showing up isn't something he needs to be reminded of. It becomes a part of who he is with you. He remembers the things you said in passing. He follows through on promises, even the small ones. He checks in not just when you're upset, but on a random Tuesday because he genuinely wants to know how your day is going. He doesn't need a special occasion to make you feel special. His consistency becomes the language of his love. This doesn't mean he's perfect. There might be times he messes up or gets distracted by life, but when a man is in love, he doesn't stay gone. He doesn't vanish into silence when things get tough. He doesn't disappear when feelings get deep. He leans in. He makes the effort to reconnect, to repair, to make sure you feel secure again. That's what separates a man who's simply interested from one who's emotionally invested. His desire to keep showing up, especially when it matters most. Consistency isn't about grand gestures, it's about reliability. It's about creating a rhythm of trust in the relationship. You start to notice that he's the one you can count on when plans fall through, when your world feels uncertain, when you need someone to simply listen. He doesn't pull away when things get real. In fact, he steps up. Because to him, love isn't just about the highs, it's about walking with you through the lows too. This level of presence creates emotional safety. You don't feel like you're guessing where you stand with him. You don't feel like you're chasing breadcrumbs of affection. He gives you clarity without you having to beg for it. And that consistency sends a powerful message. You can trust me to be here. That kind of stability isn't just comforting, it's transformative. It allows you to let your guard down, to relax into the relationship, to know that you're not carrying the weight of connection all by yourself. What's even more telling is that he doesn't need constant rewards or validation for being consistent. He's not keeping score. He's not doing it to manipulate or control. He's doing it because being close to you matters, because protecting your heart matters, because creating a healthy relationship matters. That desire to be emotionally available, to be a steady presence in your life, is coming from within him, not from pressure or obligation. This kind of behavior often surprises people who've been used to hot and cold dynamics or emotionally unavailable partners. It can feel almost strange at first to be met with such steady energy. But that's what real love does. It shows up again and again. Not with flashy moves, but with quiet dependability. It's in the text that says, "I'm thinking of you." It's in the effort to make time even when he's busy. It's in the way he doesn't pull away when you're emotional, but listens and stays. Over time, his consistency starts to build something bigger, trust. And that trust isn't built on perfection, but on repetition. You begin to see that he's not just there for the good times, he's there in your moments of doubt, your moments of fear, your moments of vulnerability. And when you see him show up in those moments, you begin to realize this isn't just someone who's falling in love with the idea of you. This is someone who's loving the real you. And for him, that showing up doesn't feel like a burden. It feels like a privilege. Because when a man is in love, being there isn't just what he does, it becomes a part of who he is. Your happiness matters to him. Your stability matters. And love for him becomes a commitment to presence. Not perfection, not performance, just a consistent choice every day to be all in. When a man falls deeply in love, something powerful happens inside him. He begins to feel inspired to grow. Love doesn't make him complacent. It ignites something in him. It pushes him to look at his life, his habits, his patterns, and ask, am I becoming the man she deserves to stand beside? That kind of love doesn't make him feel pressured to be perfect. It simply makes him want to be better. Not for approval, not to impress, but because your presence in his life becomes a mirror that reflects who he truly wants to become. This shift doesn't come from fear of losing you. It comes from valuing you. When he sees your strength, your kindness, your ambition, your heart, it awakens a desire in him to rise to your level, not to compete, but to complement. He wants to match the energy you bring. He wants to be the kind of man who can protect the space you share, build a future with intention, and show up with integrity. Love pulls him forward, not because he's lacking, but because he sees what's possible. He starts paying attention in new ways. Maybe he's never thought about emotional maturity before, but now he's reading about it. Maybe he's always pushed his dreams aside, but now he starts pursuing them again. Maybe he was once passive in relationships, but now he's stepping up. Communicating more clearly, listening more deeply, being more present. And it's not because you asked him to change. It's because love inspires him to evolve. This inspiration touches every part of his life. You'll notice he becomes more intentional with his time, his goals, even his habits. He wants to be proud of the man he's becoming, because now he's building not just for himself, but for the life he's beginning to envision with you. That doesn't mean he changes overnight. Growth is slow, sometimes messy. But the key difference is he's moving. He's trying. He's becoming more aware of his flaws and willing to face them instead of hiding behind excuses. And here's what's beautiful. This motivation doesn't come from insecurity. It comes from respect. He sees how much you give, how hard you try, how deeply you care, and in return, he wants to meet you with the same energy. Not out of obligation, but out of admiration. Loving you makes him want to lead with more character, more clarity, more consistency, because he knows that love isn't just about how you feel, it's about how you act. He may even begin to confront things he's never dealt with before. Fears, past wounds, limiting beliefs, because love has a way of making us face ourselves. And when a man is truly in love, he doesn't want to bring those unhealed parts into the future you're building together. So he begins to do the inner work. He starts to heal, not just for the relationship, but for himself. Because love has reminded him of his potential, and now he doesn't want to waste it. You may notice that he begins to talk more about the future, not just as a fantasy, but with intention. He might ask you about your dreams, your values, your long-term goals. He begins to think about how his life can align with yours, not in a way that compromises who he is, but in a way that creates shared purpose. Love brings clarity. It helps him distinguish between what really matters and what no longer serves him. And from that clarity, a deeper commitment grows. This evolution isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's in the way he handles conflict more maturely than he used to, or how he holds himself accountable when he knows he's made a mistake, or how he's more patient, more thoughtful, more present. These are the markers of real growth, not loud declarations, but quiet shifts that signal he's becoming more grounded, more conscious, more capable of loving you well. And the most incredible part? He doesn't see this growth as something he's doing for you. He sees it as something you've helped awaken within him. Your presence, your love, your belief in him. It's the catalyst. He begins to realize that the right relationship doesn't just feel good, it builds you. And because of that, he starts to hold the relationship as something sacred, something worth investing in, something worth becoming better for. So if you notice him showing up differently, not perfectly, but with more effort, more presence, more purpose, know that it's because love has done its work. It's reached into his heart and said, you can be more, you can give more, you can love better. And when a man feels that, when he's truly inspired by love, you won't have to convince him to grow. He'll already be becoming the man he wants to be, because he's found someone worth growing for.